Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to coverage of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour round number 11 from Tailem Bend, South Australia. My name is Paul Jeffrey. I am delighted to bring you coverage today of what should be a very exciting motor race indeed. Qualification happened just a few short hours ago, and we're set fair for an absolute barnstormer. Several drivers ready to go. Alex Legui down on pit lane, very much ready to go trackside and waiting for our field to arrive. Alex will be having a quick word with some of the stars of the championship before race number 11 kicks off in earnest. So let's head down to the grid to talk to Alex Legui.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Here we are on the grid in Adelaide, South Australia at the Bend. And what a circuit, what a weekend this is turning out to be. Who knew that this was going to turn out to be one of my favourite and the driver's favourite circuits on the calendar? We haven't even gone racing yet. But we had an amazing qualifying session earlier on. Thank you, Boxer. Amazing qualifying session earlier on. Hyundai have thrown a cat among the pigeons. Mikel Ascona is the man on pole. He is the one to beat. Beside him is teammate Norby Michelet. So that is going to make things very interesting here. As we come into this weekend, Jan Erleche leads the championship standings. He is 35 points ahead of Esteban Guerrieri. Santi Urrutia is in the mix, as is Ted Bjork. Mikel Ascona, so he had a brilliant qualifying session earlier on. He said that this car is probably the best it's ever been. He put together the most blinding lap. He was so happy and he came out absolutely beaming. He is the one that confirmed that the Bend is an absolutely incredible circuit. Right, is that Gabby? No, where's Gabriele Rizzo? Or Tarquini? Come with me, guys. Let's go and see who we can chat to on the grid. We're waiting for the cars to come out. This is the man that we need to keep an eye on. This is the catch the leader. So Jan Erleche has had an incredible season. He's going to try and make things as tricky as possible for the Hyundai boys, but they have a lot of weight. And he was saying earlier that this is not an easy circuit. Shout out to what has been an incredible experience as well over this weekend. There's a brilliant fan zone. The atmosphere here is brilliant. Shout out to the people who were working tirelessly in that main building as well, who gave me my merchandise, my amazing hat. Let's see who we can have a chat to as well. Hopefully we can get Jan as he comes out the car. Let's follow around this way. I'm glad that the weather's turned on for us as well. Yeah, we're going to grab you as you come out, hopefully. So this weekend we are piggybacking with the supercars, which are an incredible championship. We've been thoroughly enjoying watching them, as have these boys. Jan, we're just going to have a quick word to you. Here you are, you come to this weekend as points leader, but qualifying was not easy. Now you've got an idea as well of what these two Hyundai boys can do in front.
Yeah, of course. You know, we are very pleased to be already sitting on the second row in P3 after the shakedown and the practice where we didn't show up a lot of pace. We managed to extract the best out of the car actually in Q2, which was the target, and it's going to be tough to catch those guys in the front. They are flying. We are like in a different league this weekend by the compensation weight, you know, carrying 40 kilo. I mean, I can be pleased to be P3 already. I will try to survive as much from the guys coming from behind with low weight. And yeah, we need to score points, so that's the main target today.
Yeah, so how hard is that going to be to balance that risk versus reward here? You've got to play it safe, haven't you, especially ahead of tomorrow's race?
You know, I mean, I will be aggressive because, I mean, we are only halfway of the championship, so it's not like from now I will think about it too much. But it's just I need to calculate the risk and not to take all the risk possible, because we know we don't have a car to win today. So, I mean, I will be careful, but I will still be aggressive to try to make something.
As always. Thank you, Jan. Best of luck. I wonder how much time we've got and see if we've got time to grab Mikel Ascona. Come with me. It's always fun trying to get these drivers. It's normally like herding cats. Hello, Mikel. All right, well, I spoke to you after qualifying. You were on fire, my man. What have you been doing in your break? And have you felt like you've mentally and physically set yourself up for a good race?
Thank you very much, Alex. Now we are from the pole, first row. Very good to start the race like that. We'll try to do a very good start. This will be key to break, to arrive to the first corner in first position. And then from this point, I think I have enough pace to, I don't know, to keep the first position, but we will see. Also, Norby is fast, so it will depend on the first meters, to be honest.
Yeah, so just so that you guys know, Norby and Michael are technically not in championship contention for the top spot. So therefore, are there team orders, or are you helping each other, or are you going full on gloves off?
As you just said, we are not fighting for a championship, so we're looking for individuals races wins. We are in a very good position, P1, P2, so I think if we finish P1, P2, this could be really, really good for Hyundai and BRC, and that's our target.
Yeah, and I can imagine you're well aware of the blue sharks that are right behind you. Will not make it easy at all. So Norby Michelitz, he's here. If you come over here, you can probably poke your head in, Boxer. Quite often, Norby won't necessarily be up for speaking on the grid because he tends to sit and visualise, which is always really interesting, isn't it? Finding out what these boys are doing on the grid as they're mentally preparing. Can we interrupt you, Norby? I know that you normally take some time out on the grid. Oh, it's very difficult. Thanks. How are you? How are you feeling? And what's the strategy here? I mean, we just spoke to Mikel. We know that you're going to look after each other, but is it gloves off for you, or is it a case of defending from the boys behind?
There are no team orders. Of course, we will do our best to bring home a good team result, but there is a good respect between each other. We were in this position many times in the past. We managed to survive. Target will be to score a good result for the team, because in the end the boys were working so hard yesterday. I mean, there was no sleep at all for them, and in the end target has to be to win the race and then possibly to have two cars on the podium.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Thank you, Norby. I'm not going to attempt doing that. Let's see if we can have a chat to some of our Aussie talent. Buckers is here. This is our reigning TCR Aussie champ, and I tell you what, for him to be up here is pretty formidable. You must feel pretty happy with where you're sitting right now. Oh, I'm not going to ruin things. Hang on, I'll just pass it through.
That's all right. Yeah, pretty happy. I mean, I probably didn't do the best job in Q2. I think in practice and Q1, we were a little bit closer. Just in that Q2 session, you know, probably just got outsmarted by the guys who do it regularly. So I think the race pace will be okay. I'm not quite sure. I'll find out. But yeah, happy to be here.
How cool is it to be racing alongside these world-level drivers, and what are you learning as you go through the weekend?
It's a good question. I love racing these guys. They're all excellent drivers. They're all very accomplished. So yeah, to be amongst this grid is a privilege, and yeah, just learning where we sit as little Aussies down here, and it's not too bad by the looks of it. So.
Yeah, it certainly is not. What a great situation to be in for Josh there. All right, so let's just have a little recap. At the front, you've got Michael Ascona and Norby Michelitz. As Norby alluded to, there's no team orders. Something tells me that he might be trying to beat Michael down into that first corner. As we saw earlier, those first few bends are pretty tricky here. You get that first corner wrong, and that sets you up badly for those next 2 and 3. Behind that is your championship leader. He is not going to make things easy. Keep an eye on them. Esteban Guerrieri is right down here. He needs the points. So, as we know, the touring car drivers are notorious. Rubbing is racing, and that's what makes it fun. It's going to be a great race. We're very excited to be here. Let's go.
Thank you very much indeed, Alex Le Gui, down there on the grid, ahead of, as I say, round 11 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. The first race in action of the weekend as we come back to Australia. We skipped it last time around last year. We're back again, and my goodness me, have we missed the TCR Australia team. Great to be back once again at a beautiful racing circuit, a beautiful part of the world, and in a very competitive grid indeed. It is 19 degrees centigrade air temperature, 31 degrees track, and 46% humidity. It's early in the day, nearly just turned 2 o'clock local time, and it's about to get a whole lot more spicy indeed, methinks. Qualification took place even a few hours ago, earlier today. If you've missed it, if you've missed the news, where have you been around the world? It's been a bit of a content schedule, it has to be said, here in Australia. Unfortunately, some bad weather when bringing over the entire paddock for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour caused significant shipping delays. Several days were lost. It was a race against time yesterday for the paddock to get set up, the cars to be prepared, the teams to be in go position. We managed to sneak in a quick shakedown, one singular free practice, straight into qualifying, and now, almost as fast as you can say it, we're into the racing action. It was going to be tight to get everything ready. It was a Herculean effort, it has to be said, from the whole paddock to get up and running. And now, that's a thing of the past, and we're going to do what we do best in the World Tour. We're going to put on a show and go motor racing. Cannot wait for this one. First time that the World Tour has been here at the Bend Motorsport Park. It's a new track for us. It's a new track for many of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour drivers. And I dare say it's going to provide plenty of excitement indeed. As Alex mentioned down on the grid, pole position for Mikel Azcona. Key takeaway from that one though from Mikel, 0.7 of a second. That was the advantage over this man Norbert Michelis. It was, quite frankly, a monumental qualifying effort from the Spanish driver to get that pole position. And as we kind of alluded to in the show already, just turn around the season a little bit for Mikel Azcona. Currently sat down there in 10th position in the Drivers' Championship standings, just 92 points to his name. Aim of the game, take individual race victories and see where that shuffles you out at the end of the season. Jan Aleshe came into this weekend very pessimistic indeed. 20 kilos in balance of performance applied to the Lincoln Co. Cyan racing cars. That's going to make things hard anyway. And then Aleshe takes an additional 40 kilos. Success ballast on account of what was a very, very strong weekend in Villarreal. A first and an 8th position respectively, which vaults Aleshe to the top of the Drivers' Championship coming into this one. Third on the grid, another very, very impressive qualification. He may be fighting a rearguard action, may the French driver, when we get to racing action, but nevertheless, he's put himself in the best position possible, just like Josh Buchan, one of our TCR Australia drivers, double champion in TCR Australia, reigning champion as well. Josh has been outside of a TCR car for quite some time now, but he's come back in and picked up like he never left. 4th position on the grid, an incredibly strong qualification effort from the HMO Customer Racing team, and he's the leader of our TCR Australia contingent. Ryan McMillan being the next one up the list, down there in 12th. Let's have a look then at our starting grid. Mikel Azcona from Norbert Michelis is your front row of the grid. Jan Aleshe and Josh Buchan will line up in 3rd and 4th positions respectively. Starting from P5 is a 111 of Ted Bjork. He's got Nacho Montenegro for company, with Marcin Qua and Esteban Gurrieri set to start this race from 7th and 8th. 9th goes the way of Nestor Girolami, Aurelien Comte, alongside Santiago Urrutia, and Ryan McMillan will start 11th and 12th for both races. Cody Bircher is an impressive 13th position on debut next to Brad Harris, with Lose Ho in 15th, Zach Suter starting in 16th position. 17th goes the way of the GRM Peugeot of Jordan Cox, and in 18th position is Ian McDougall, rounding out the 18 cars that will take part in this event. And each and every one of them have all got a story to tell, have all got an adventure awaiting them, and we're about to get underway. There'll be one formation lap, it'll be a standing start, then it'll be 13 racing laps to decide who takes the first victory of the weekend here in a newly condensed schedule. Just 2 races now, as opposed to the originally scheduled 3 at the start of the weekend. So we've already got 2. What does that mean, folks? We need to cram 3 races worth of action into just 2 encounters. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. Field then away from the line on their reconnaissance lap. Our first time in the racing conditions to see the World Tour and TCR Australia field together as one. Once again, keep your eye on that number 30 at the top of your shot. HMO Customer Racing, run by Alantra and TCR and Josh Buchan. Nothing for him to do other than push forward and set a big impression on the world stage. Norbert Michaelis comes into this one as our reigning champion. He's down there in 6th position in the championship standings. A big win, or a big result, sorry, will be needed for him. Took a victory in Italy in the previous round 2-1. And also DLA won another race win for our Norbert. Be very important indeed. Several of these drivers sense opportunity meet things coming into this one. Not least of which Esteban Gurriere. He's got a chance from 2nd in the championship standings to claw his way back in contention with Jan Erlichet at the top of the field. It's an all Hyundai BRC Hyundai N Squadra course of benefit from qualification. Will that rich vein of form continue in the race? Mikael Afkona looks highly comfortable after a dominant qualifying performance. Norbert Michaelis looking a lot stronger this weekend than we've seen, to be fair, for quite a while from the Hungarian driver. Car and driver both on form. Big opportunity presents itself. Best seat in the house. Best move out of the way quickly though as the World Tour field wind their way through the bend. 3 miles, 4.9 kilometres, 18 corners, 85 metres of elevation. It's tight, it's twisty, it's fast, it's slow, it's technical, it's flowing. It's a little bit of everything here at the Bend Motorsport Park. And from practice and qualifying at the very least, our drivers have enjoyed it. But the real test, the real testament to the quality of the racetrack is the type of racing action it provides. Laser focused blue eyes there of Ted Bjork. Burning through the windshield of the 111. Bjork lines up in 5th position. On incredible form is the 44-year-old Swedish driver. To move forward into the podium places at the very, very least. As Esteban Gurriere kind of looked good for Goat Racing, didn't it? Coming into the weekend, Lincoln Co on the back foot, Erlichet struggling for pace. Could have been a big points haul for Goat Racing and Esteban Gurriere. Well, their job has been made a little bit more difficult by virtue of the fact they are 6th and 8th advantage Nacho Montenegro. Cars move forward though, quick in shakedown, quick in free practice. Didn't quite put it together for qualification. Gurriere carrying 30 kilos of weight. Nacho Montenegro, brilliant success, ballast free for this one. An opportunity for the Argentine driver to snag another podium on the World Tour. We'll find out though in a few moments' time. Mikael Afkona rolls up gently into his box, not giving away any space on the racetrack whatsoever. Wants all of that advantage afforded to him for pole position, and so he should, as is his right as the pole position sitter. A lot's going to rest on this race start, folks. We're about to be on the green flag. Oh dear, that is Ryan McMillan down in pit lane. So McMillan in some kind of strife already, but there we go. The green flag waves at the back of the field. The lights will go on, the lights will go out, and we will be racing in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour Round 11 from Tailem Island is go, and it's a great start for Mikael Afkona at the head of the pack. Already Jan Erlichet trying to find a way past Norbert Michaelis. Santiago Urrutia slow off the line further down, but Michaelis in 2nd position covers that inside line. Erlichet can't find room, is given the racing space by his teammate as well. A little bit further back, Nacho Montenegro, Josh Buchan trying to buy into the fight. Buchan on the defensive, covers off the 27. There's Jordan Cox going for a bit of an adventure in the GRM run Peugeot. Cox returns the car to the racetrack, perhaps reacquainted himself, having got fresh out of 4th position in Trans Ams in the previous race. Straight back into the cockpit of a TCR car. Takes a bit of re-acclimatisation. Does Jordan Cox. Will pick back up Josh Buchan now under pressure from Nacho Montenegro behind. Martin Bois keeping the watching brief. Esteban Gurriere gets away from the line cleanly. Gains no positions. Stays in 8th place. Bjork under pressure from Buchan. This is the opportunity for Josh. He's got a bit of local knowledge on this circuit. He's raced here before, of course. He'll be using that one to good advantage if he can, but Bjork stemming the flow of the challenge behind, seems to have it covered there. Santiago Urrutia didn't get away from the line, did Santi? He's all the way down there in 17th position from 11th on the grid. His day's just got a whole lot more difficult as Mikel Azcona at the head of the pack has a comfortable lead coming in to the conclusion of the first lap of the racing action. Lovely shots here then as we ride on board with Ted Bjork in the 111 just ahead of us. Here's team maiden championship leader Jan Ellershey. I don't think Ted will be particularly enthusiastic about getting involved in that one. Our most recent winner, of course, won race number 2 in Portugal at Villarreal. Bjork, as I mentioned earlier, on a great run of form this season. But he's just playing the team game for now, keeping Josh Buchan in check, making sure that Ellershey's got the real estate and the opportunity to charge. There is Buchan. Has a look, gets the switchback, has the straight line speed. Can he get the line covered into the braking zone? Yes, he can. Runs a little bit deep though, Bjork trying to find a way past. That was very nicely done from Josh Buchan indeed. In fact, while they're squabbling, Nacho Montenegro thinks this looks like a whole lot of fun. Maybe I'll have a go as well. Montenegro now climbing over the rear bumper of the 111. Not able to find a way past. Ted Bjork very firmly in a defensive posture now. We'll be looking in the mirrors, checking the line, make sure the inside's not open to Montenegro. Well, it's Nacho we're talking about. A little bit of a kiss of grass and the inside line is open. Thank you very much. That's an aggressive pass from the 1-2-3, but it's effective. He's up in a 5th. Great stuff from Nacho Montenegro then. Ted Bjork would have thought quite reasonably, I think it's fair to say, that that line was well and truly covered off. Nacho Montenegro though has other ideas in the 1-2-3. He makes himself a nice little bit of a gap between Ted Bjork and he. Montenegro up in a 5th position, trying to close down Josh Buchan now as Marchingois, one of the, I think it's fair to say, in the most trouble during qualification drivers from the Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing Squad. Did a great job to launch back up in the 7th right at the death for Marchingois. Now it matters in racing action. Seems to have found just a little bit more pace. And that is being used to good effect. Riding on board here with Esteban Gurriere, the GOAT Racing Honda Civic driver. Just ahead of Gurriere is trying to chase down Marchingois as we've got a bit of a replay of some of the dramas as Mikel Azcona starts his 3rd lap of the race with a comfortable 2.8 second lead. Right then, let's take a look at the start. Santiago Urrutia struggled to get away from the line. There is the 1-1-2. Everybody does a sterling job of making a way around their way around the stranded Lincoln Co. Josh Buchan, plenty of excitement in the middle of the field as well. First time he started the TCR car for quite a while, the Australian driver, but Buchan very much picking up where he left off, showing the class that is so very evident in the TCR Australia double champion. There is what happened to Jordan Cox. A little bit of a sideways moment, gathered together relatively quickly in the P51 Peugeot. Another little replay, Zach Suter potentially. A little bit of a rat-a-tat-tat on the rear quarter of that beautiful looking machine. And then this is the Josh Buchan and Ted Bjork incident and pass. A little bit of a kiss between the two of them for Buchan and Bjork. And it's advantage to the Australian driver. This is seen on board now from Ted Bjork's perspective. Has the inside line covered. That's the overlap. That's the secondary kiss. He did think about it, did Ted? But the gap very quickly closed up. Great driving there from Josh Buchan. And a very welcome reward. A 4th position is his. Last time around, a 1 minute, 1 minute 57.7 versus a 57.3 for Norbert Mikkelis. So Buchan has a little bit of pace to find. He wants to close up with his sister Hyundai's ahead, but more importantly, he wants to get into that fight with Jan Ellershey. That's going to be the important one for the Hyundai squad. That's going to be the important one for Josh. Can he have a conversation about the bottom step of the podium as we look at Esteban Gurriere? Relatively stable start for the Argentinian driver. Qualified in 8th position, currently runs in 8th position. Gurriere, half of the battle in touring cars, is staying out of trouble on the opening laps. That's exactly what Esteban Gurriere has done as we ride on board with Aurelien Comte, who, unfortunately for the French driver, has has lost a position off of the line, currently running in 11th place. He's got Corey Bircher just ahead of him. Bircher doing a great job and is about to be passed. There we go, Pirelli and Compt to the inside. The Lincoln Co number 36 gives him the racing room, and that is a sensible bit of play there for the Ashley Saywood Motorsports driver. There's a little bit further back. There is the recovering Santiago Urrutia. Brad Harris is the next one on the list. He's looking vulnerable, is Harris. Then the Honda Civic, that's the Honda Civic, as once raced by Bebu Girolamo. A couple of seasons ago, raced it in the entirety of 2024, did Brad. Well, he's running it under his own team family name now, and it's showing plenty of pace indeed. Lose Ho goes a little bit deep, opens the door, Harris finds his way through. Urrutia says thank you very much, I'll have that one. Zach Suter too, never one to miss out on a party, takes the invitation, slides his way through as well. Great driving there from Zach. Lose Ho having another adventure in the background. It's not worked out at all for the Hong Konger over the last couple of laps. Lose Ho though keeping the car pretty much, broadly speaking, on the grey stuff and still in the battle. Let's have another look then. This is where it all started going wrong. Brad Harris to the inside, Lose Ho a little bit deep, can't get the car back to the apex. Harris is there, there's Urrutia, there is Zach Suter as well, and then just a couple of corners later, off of the racing line, off of the racing surface it has to be said, Lose Ho does good work to keep that I-30N TCR machine, broadly speaking, pointed in the right direction and still in this motor race. Ted Bjork is in some kind of dramas as well, but just picked up the end of that one as himself and Ma Qinghua running in very close proximity. Bjork has the advantage, 6th position. Ma in 7th place. Esteban Guerrieri still not quite close enough to make an attack. Look at this shot here, this is beautiful onboard camera work here in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Absolutely loving that one. For the run down into T1, you can see the deceleration zone, just how hard these drivers have to work on both pedals as well as the wheel to try and extract a lap time here. The Tailem bend. And so far, Ted Bjork's holding on, Ma Qinghua keeping a watching brief, and crucially, Esteban Guerrieri not close enough yet, as things stand, to launch an attack. 8th position for Guerrieri is categorically not what was expected coming into the weekend. The GOAT Racing Honda squad still trying to find a little bit more pace. Well, they're going to have to find it very quickly indeed, because they've only got 5 of 13 laps in the books. 8 still to go. Your race leader, Michelaf Kona, has possibly never quite looked as comfortable at the front of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour race as he does just at this moment in time. Fastest lap overall, a 156.4. 7/10 quicker than the chasing Mitchell behind. Fabulous stuff from Michelaf Kona. And fabulous stuff a little bit further back from that man Josh Buchan. He's dropped outside of the podium places, but he's holding on very gamely indeed in 4th position. Nacho Montenegro, the 2023 TCR South America champion, having a little look and a little think, try to find a way past his Australian rival. But so far, Josh Buchan is millimetre perfect in the HMO Customer Racing Hyundai. Another opportunity for Montenegro calls. Another opportunity slams very firmly into the face of the Argentinian driver. But I think now this could be an opportunity, a good run through the final corner for the GOAT Racing Honda. It's not quite got straight line speed. Look how fast in a straight line Josh Buchan is. That thing is mighty down the start-finish straight. We saw this one in his move on the Lincoln Co a little while ago, but Josh Buchan is very, very quick in a straight line. That's going to make life incredibly difficult for the chasing pack. It's not going to make it particularly easy for Josh behind the wheel, but as a racing driver, you would always trade straight line speed for cornering performance in a race. It just gives you that little bit more of a comfort blanket when defending, and that little bit more of an advantage when attacking, and Buchan seems to have hit the sweet spot so far. Up there in 4th position, still fending off the attacks of Nacho Montenegro. Ted Bjork keeping a watching brief. The fight from Ma Qinghua seems to have extinguished somewhat. Ma in 7th position, losing a few more car lengths, but still ahead of Esteban Guerrieri, Bebu Girolamo, and that man Aurelien Compt, as we ride on board now with Aurelien. in the SP competition machine. And what's this? 5-second time penalty for 196. That's your race leader. Car number 196. That is Mikel Azcona. 5-second time penalty. 107 has a time penalty as well. Aurelian Comte. Number 112 is Santiago Urrutia. How he got a jump start, I do not know. And then the number 74 of Brad Harris. That's a shame for Brad as well, doing a good job so far. Up there in 12th position. But 5-second time penalty for your race leader, ladies and gentlemen. What's his gap to Norbert Michaelis? 3.2 seconds as things stand. So Azcona, if the race stopped right here and now, would demote to second place. Hence the reason the Spanish driver is going like a fast thing in Fastville. Norbert Michaelis will be well aware. Gabriele Rizzo would have been on the phone just to let him know. Your teammate has a 5-second penalty. If you can stay within 5 seconds, Norbe, you'll be inheriting this race victory at the checkered flag. Game on for the Hungarian driver, looking, hunting, searching for his second win of 2025. He won in Italy a couple of rounds ago. Ideally like another race victory to his name. Mikel Azcona is 6 seconds clear of Jan Elishay in third position. So far, if things end as they are, he would hold on to the top 2 position. He's absolutely gunning for the race win. He's got 1.2 seconds to find. It's very possible for the halfway distance of this race for Mikel Azcona, but he's made his life a whole lot more difficult indeed. We'll keep our eye on that one. We'll keep our eye on this one. So riding on board now with Ted Bjork, big Scandinavian driver. 6th position so far for the 111. Ted not quite making the inroads he would have been hoping in the early stages of this motor race, but that Lincoln Co. Cyan racing machine looking very nice, it has to be said. The middle portion of the lap, treating its Kumho slick tyres nicely indeed, is Ted Bjork. Set up on that car, perhaps designed to come alive a little bit in the second part of the race, where the fuel's a little bit lighter, the tyres are a little bit more worn, and certainly for Ted, he'll be hoping so to move forward in this one. 4.4 seconds now is the advantage for Mikel Azcona. 5-second time penalty, I don't think is going to make even the slightest jot of difference to the Spanish driver. Such is the level of domination for Mikel Azcona so far this weekend. He's been, quite frankly, it has to be said, in a bit of a class of one with Mikel Azcona, and he's doing a superb job. Lap 8 of 13 in the books. Mikel Azcona, 4.7 seconds now is the advantage over Norbert Michaelis. Jan Elishay a few seconds further back, so it's definitely looking game on for Mikel. Not very often we get a World Tour race that's got a 5+ second advantage for the race winner. That's a bit of a rarity anyway, but to take a win with a 5-second time penalty, semi-unprecedented, methinks. Who's leading the charge so far for the TCR Australian contingent? Of course, Josh Buchan up there in 4th place, very much the point man as things stand. Bircher down there in 11th, got Brad Harris for company. They're having a nice little fight. Bircher doing an absolutely incredible job. It's worth talking about him just for a few moments while I have the opportunity. 22-year-old Australian driver on his debut weekend in TCR. Drove the car for the very first time in Shakedown yesterday. Australian fans perhaps will know him a little bit more as the reigning Super 3 champion. Now in Super 2 in GT4 Australia. Having an absolute riot, it seems, in the TCR car for ASM. So far, so good for Bircher. Up there in 11th place. Not quite in that top 10 yet, but definitely within the conversation, especially with the Aurelian Comte time penalty. And others ahead. Could well be a debut top 10. Not to shake a stick at whatsoever. Same car, different team, newer model. This is Ted Bjork. Riding on board with the 111, 6th position so far. That's Ma Chinghua keeping a watching brief behind. Ma has the pace, it seems, but not quite able to get himself in a position where he can launch an attack just yet. Chinese driver, though, I think he'll be relatively satisfied with his day's work. It was difficult in qualifying, oh so very close to not making it through into the crucial top 10. Found the pace where he needed to with Ma Chinghua, and so far in racing conditions, that pace seems to be coming on top very strongly indeed. Last time around, by the way, a 2 minutes 0.6 for Mikel Azcona versus a 1:58.4. So a mistake for Mikel. 2.5 seconds now is the gap between first and second. As things stand, Azcona will drop behind his teammate Mikulis and Jan Erlichey. Plenty of racing still to go. Clearly a mistake from Azcona, but that crucial 5 seconds covers our top three with just 4 laps remaining. There we go, right on cue. There is the 196. There is the man on form so far this weekend. Dominant in qualifying, 0.7 of a second quicker than Norbert Mikulis. Quite frankly, nobody is 0.7 of a second quicker than Norbert Mikulis. So that was a deeply impressive performance from Azcona. Well, he's jumped the start. He has a 5-second time penalty to apply to his time. And that gap is still just 2.8 seconds. And there is Jan Erlichey. This is one of the least exciting but most impressive drives I have seen from Jan Erlichey. That car is just not at the races in terms of pace over the course of this weekend. It was monumental to get in on the second row of the grid. But to keep it there and to be in touching distance of the 105 of our double reigning champion, Norbert Mikulis. This is a deeply, deeply impressive drive from Jan Erlichey. One I'm sure when we speak to him at the end of the race, he'll be very, very satisfied with his day's work, especially if he can stay within 5 seconds of that man, Mikel Azcona. Let's try and move up from his 3rd position. Great stuff then at the head of the pack. Josh Buchan leading the TCR Australia Cup contingent. And lots of racing still to go. There is Mikel Azcona, Babu Girolami with Aurelien Comte having a little think just outside the top 10, riding on board with French driver Aurelien Comte. SP Competition Cupra. Great entry, great debut season in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Normally a 2-car outfit with John Philippe alongside. John's not here this weekend, so it's just Aurelien flying solo at the head of the pack. And has the French driver been doing this season, showing a very impressive turn of pace indeed. To be harrying Girolami. Not able to find a way past yet, not close enough to challenge, but just applying the pressure, just making the Argentinian BRC Hyundai N Squadra driver ahead have a little something to think about other than getting around this Tailem Park Bend circuit. Beautiful onboard shots there, you can hear the engine of Aurelien Comte. Have a listen. Just trying to find grip out there on the circuit. It's a very cold track considering the time of day. Part of the world that we're in as well, some might say. Not as much grip as maybe the World Tour drivers would have been hoping for. They've definitely not got the car in the balance window that they were looking for. So a lot of drivers just, don't want to say struggling, but definitely out there on the outer limits of what is possible in these cars. And Aurelien Comte doing a grand job so far to mirror Babu Girolami. Bircher just behind as well, in that 11th position. He's starting to wonder if maybe it's worth having a squabble for the top 10. Bircher doing a fantastic job so far. Every single corner is a bit more experience. Every lap is a bit more knowledge of what a TCR car can do. I thoroughly expect the 22-year-old Australian driver to be using that skill, experience and knowledge he's gained to good effect for race number 2 tomorrow afternoon. Still got 3 laps though of this one to go. And your gap update at the head of the pack, ladies and gents, boys and girls. 3.5 seconds for Mikel Azcona, 1.5 away from the gap he needs to secure this race victory. But crucially, 0.4 of a second. That's the window. That's the gap that Jan Erlichey is within that 5 seconds. So 4.6 seconds to Mikel Azcona. Erlichey could inherit second place. Things don't change at the head of the pack very dramatically over the course of the next couple of laps. Mikel, shown so much pace, just seems to be deserted him at this late juncture. We continue watching Girolami holding off the Cupra behind. Girolami, very experienced, wily competitor. Takes a lot to get a mistake out of the Argentinian driver, and so far so good. He's been absolutely on point and holding on. to that 9th position. Aurelian Comp, no opportunities to find a way past while they're squabbling. Cody Birchie behind, slowly, catching the cars in front. There is Athcona, sole entry for the SP competition Cooper, unfortunately. Hopefully we see John Filippi back again sometime in the near future. Lap 11 of 13 in the books. 3.7 seconds the gap. Couple of tenths found for Mikel Athcona. It looked like it was going to be easy, didn't it? To try and stretch out that 5-second gap. Well, it looks far from easy indeed. Mikel really struggling now. Last time around, 57.8 versus 58.3 for Norbert Miklis. 3.9 seconds the gap now. Lap 12 of 13. Contact between 1, 2, 3 and 111 at turn 6 is under investigation. Nacho Montenegro and Ted Bjork. There is 111. Martin Clark keeping him company as well. Hopefully we'll find out before the end of the race, but if we don't, check out the TCR social media channels for the latest news on all penalisations, penalties and all of the good things that unravel themselves at the conclusion of races such as this one. There is the 1, 2, 3 of Nacho Montenegro, the Argentinian driver, former FIA Motorsport Games gold winner in 2022, TCR Spain champion in 24, TCR South America champion as well. Raced in TCR Europe last year, did Nacho, is now on the world stage and showing the whole wide world just what a 20-year-old Argentinian driver can do with a good car underneath him. Fabulous talent is Nacho Montenegro. Fabulous talent is Mikel Athcona. Been there, done that, won that. As Mikel, ideally like to take this race victory. 4.6 seconds last time they crossed a time in beam. We'll find out at the conclusion of the lap just what that gap is looking. Let's remember, 5-second time penalty for a jump start for car number 196. He needs to build a minimum of 5 seconds between himself and teammate Norbert Miklis behind if he wants to secure this victory. And it does look like the last couple of laps swung the pendulum back in the favour of Mikel Athcona. 4 tenths he needs to find now to take the win. Gabriele Tarquini, deeply experienced Italian driver Gabriele. Watching on there as his charge, tries everything. Has Miklis got the pace to stay within the gap? Can Athcona complete the deal? Is the fastest man on the racetrack, that much is for sure. But is he fast enough to secure the race victory? We'll find out as we head into the final lap now. Lap number 13 of 13 of round number 11 of 20 for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. We're back in action again tomorrow. Let's not forget 12 o'clock local time, 2:30 AM UTC on the TCR TV YouTube channel. Make sure you catch that one, but we've still got a bit more left to go. But the big question is, does Mikel Athcona have enough pace in the tank? Does he have that little bit he needs to try and take this race victory? 4.8 seconds is the gap now between himself and Norbert Miklis. He needs to break the 5-second barrier. Norbert will be straining every sinew behind the wheel of the 105 to try and hold on, to try and desperately keep in contention for the race victory. He's got Jan Ellershey, 5.7 seconds Ellershey now, so he's out of contention to move up after the penalisation of Athcona. 4.97 seconds at the last checkpoint for Mikel. He's not quite there yet. It is just a few millimetres of extra paintwork, a few millimetres more of racetrack to secure it for Mikel Athcona. We ride with our race leader now on the racetrack at least. He's got that 5-second time penalty hanging over his head, but let's follow the 196 through the last few corners. Pole position by 7/10 of a second. Never looked troubled under racing conditions did Mikel Athcona, but one small mistake off at the start could make the difference between first and second positions. Through the last corner then we go, accelerating to the line, on track at least. Mikel Athcona takes the checkered flag for victory in round 11 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Second over the line goes Norbert Miklis. In third position goes the way of Jan Ellershey. But let's have a look at the timing screens. What is the gap to the leader? A drum roll please, ladies and gents. Mikhail Kona crossed the line 4.997 seconds ahead of Mikhail Kona. Now, I'm not very good at mathematics, ladies and gents, and it's always dangerous to predict this one, but I think he's made that 5-second gap he needed to take the win. In fact, there we go. Times have been adjusted, and by 0.0024, Norbert Michaelis is your race winner. Mikhail Kona demoted into second position. Jan Ellershae finishing in third. It's still a BRC Hyundai victory, but it's not arguably the man that's shown the most pace over the course of the weekend. That 5-second time penalty has proven absolutely crucial for Mikhail Kona, and it's going to hurt. It is going to sting when the team tell him he eventually crossed the line and he's classified in second. Still a great result nonetheless. The second race victory of the season for Norbert Michaelis will be a very welcome boost indeed. And let's take a look at the provisional race results. There you go. You can see for yourself. It's Norbert Michaelis classified as your race winner from Mikhail Kona. Jan Ellershae just a second outside of taking over. That second place will be third. Josh Buchan, TCR Australia Cup winner in fourth position. Nacho Montenegro, Ted Bjork, Marcin Hua and Esteban Gurrieri rounding out the top 8 finishers. Great result for Cody Bircher up there in 9th, just ahead of Bebu Girolame. Aurelien Comte is classified in 11th with Santiago Urrutia, Zach Suter, Bradley Harris, Ryan McMillan and Jordan Cox for company. Lo Seho is classified in 17th position. Ian McDougall crosses the line in 18th place and last. Well. That was quite the finish to the motor race, was it not? I think, yeah, plenty of dramas to unpick. Race winner Norbert Michaelis, though, crossed the line in second place, took it at the flag by the narrowest of margins, 200ths of a second in the end, 2,000ths of a second in the end, should I say. Well, I don't think anyone would have predicted that one coming into this race, would they? What it does do, it ignites the championship somewhat. Solid points again for Ellershae up there in third. A little bit difficult day for Esteban Gurrieri, qualified 8th, finished 8th. That's not the points the Argentinian driver would have been looking for. Of course, he'll start in third position for the reverse grid race 2 tomorrow. So there's opportunity aplenty there for Gurrieri. But just look at that one. 0.002 seconds is the difference. Unfortunately for Mikhail Kona, he's shown the pace, he's shown the tenacity, he's been almost mistake-free. But those smallest of mistakes on the start has had the biggest of consequences. Still a good result though, nevertheless, and provisionally, that should. I've seen some provisional results here. Jan Ellershae should move up to the head of the championship standings, 280 points from 235 for Gurrieri, 227 for Ted Bjork in third. We'll work that one out a little bit later on. I think Norbert Michaelis is not quite sure if he's first or second, is he? Never quite believe these things until somebody gives you the trophy, and even then, it can still be taken away. Norbert will be deeply satisfied with this one. Was hoping it was going to be a good circuit for the Hyundai and the BRC Squadra Corsa team, and it's proven to be exactly that. 1-2-4 for the Hyundai squad. Josh Buchan leading home the HMO customer racing team in 4th position, and the first of our Australian drivers. Great drive from Buchan, 57.9, the best lap of the day versus a 56.4 for Mikhail Kona. Frankly though, pace-wise at least, Mikhail has been in a bit of a race of one, it has to be said. Sometimes though, being the fastest driver on the grid doesn't necessarily mean you're the one that takes the points. As we've seen very clearly here. Jan Ellershae will be delighted, I think it's fair to say, with his performance. That car's not quite been on song over the course of this Australia weekend. I think Ellershae has done everything and a little bit more he can to wrestle that second position out of the vehicle. There is your race winner, Norbert Norbert Miklas, 2023-2024 Kumho FIA TCR World Tour Drivers' Champion. Another race victory will be very popular indeed. I'm absolutely sure for Norby. Lovely man, 40-year-old touring car driver. Loves his sport, loves his touring cars, loves his racing. Just seems to get better with age, doesn't he? As Beppe handing out the winner's cap. Thank you very much, says Norby. Even polite, right in the throes of victory. Lovely, lovely man. A very accomplished touring car driver. I think there might be a little bit of sympathetic facial expressions between himself and Mikel Azcona. Nobody will know that was Mikel's. Yeah. A few words whispered, there'll be a debrief when the watching eyes of the cameras nod upon the drivers. I think nobody will know. He takes the points, the history books will give him the victory. But he'll be well aware that Mikel Azcona is the one with the pace over the course of this weekend. Can't wait to see that race tomorrow. 10th position on the grid, as fast as Mikel is. Yes, please. There we go. A few last-minute instructions issued to the team. Nobody just wants to spray that champagne, I think, doesn't he? Get the debrief going. We're racing again. Not too long, as I mentioned. Tomorrow, 12 o'clock local time, 02:30 UTC. There's our very own Alex Legui. Marshalling the cameras together, getting everything ready as we'll go head down and talk to our race winner. Let's take a look, though, at the provisional race results once again. Norbert Miklas from Mikel Azcona and Jan Aleshe on the podium. Josh Buchan leading home the TCR Australia drivers ahead of Nacho Montenegro. Ted Bjork, Martin Hua and Esteban Gurriere classified in 8th. Cody Birch is 9th. Nestor Girolame rounds out the top 10. And I'm hearing in my ear that Alex Legui is down in Parc Ferme to talk to our race winner.
There we have it, kicking off the second half of the season. Norby Michelitz wins here at the Bend, but that was a rather interesting race. I'd be intrigued to hear your radios from inside and what your discussion was with the team and also with Mikel just then.
I just said congrats to him. Was nothing special, to be honest. I was pushing 100%. I had some small mistakes, but the car was working fine. I mean, Jan had a fantastic pace. Towards the end, he was catching me. Nevertheless, I did my best, and I heard from the team that it was a very small margin in between the two of us. I think Mikel was the faster driver today, but for PT, he didn't win the race. Nevertheless, I'm happy. It's still a 1-2 for the team, so the boys deserved.
Good, great drive, well done, and enjoy your podium.
There you go then, Norbert Miklas even admitting that perhaps Mikel Azcona was the quicker of the two BRC Hyundai N Quadricorda drivers this weekend, which will be nice. Mikel will feel good about that one. Nobody will feel frustrated about it, but the history books will always say it was race victory for the Hungarian driver in car number 105. The championship standings will always pay the points for the championship leader in 0105. Great performance then for Norbert Miklas, as we're about to head down and have a look at some of the highlights from the race that you've just enjoyed, round 11 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour here at Tailem Bend. Let's have a look then at what's happened. At the start of the race, it would be a wonderful start at the head of the pack for Mikel Azcona, converting pole position into an early race lead for the charge down into T1. Jan Aleshe was concerned he'd drop back in the early stages. He was in combative mood through the opening few corners, holding on to that third position as Jordan Cox visits the scenery but regains the racetrack in the P51 Peugeot. Cox would have a difficult race from there, embattled with the TCR Australia drivers, while another TCR Australia star, Josh Buchan, double champion, overtakes Ted Bjork in fine style, gets the job done even before we hit the braking zone down into T1. At the time, that would be for 4th position, a place where Josh Buchan would finish at the conclusion of the motor race. Plenty of fighting all the way through the field. Here we can see Lo Seho under pressure from Brad Harris. Harris. A good move by Brad. The door opens, the opportunity presents itself, and himself and just behind Santiago Urrutia, having made a slow start, make their way past. Zach Suter also finds a way past the Hong Kong driver as Lo Sei-ho goes a little bit wide, gathers the car together and keeps the I-30N on the racetrack. Around the halfway marker, the controversy was, of course, a 5-second time penalty for a jump start for pole position sitter Mikel Azcona. At one stage, that gap looked comfortable, and then this man Norbert Michelis came back into contention. The eyes were on the clocks almost as much as the racetrack, but Azcona couldn't quite make it to the line, losing out the race victory by a small margin of 0.02 of a second. He may have crossed the line and taken the checkered flag, but he will be classified in second, and Norbert Michelis will be deemed the race winner for round 11 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, the first of 2 races at the Shell V-Power Motorsports Park here in Tailem Bend, South Australia. Wonderful stuff then. I am sure you will all agree. And for Norbert Michelis, a second race victory of the season to join the ever-expanding trophy cabinet for the Hungarian driver. With the victory comes the points. With the points comes the opportunity. But let's head down to our podium ceremony.
TCR World Tour. What a race that was. It's a real pleasure to be racing around the streets here in the Bend. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to our 3rd position driver, Jan Erlache. And in 2nd position from BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corse, it's Mikel Azcona. Once again from BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corse, the winner is Norby Michelitz. And representing BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corse is Federico Di Giacomo. And now for the national anthem of our winning driver. The owner of Spry Civil Construction will present the trophies. First of all, to our 3rd position driver from Siam Racing's Lincoln Co., it's Jan Erlache. Sam will now present the 2nd position trophy to BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corses, Mikel Azcona. And once again, to BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corse, the winner is Norby Michelitz. And representing BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corse is Federico Di Giacomo. Please come together for your official photographs.
And there we have it then.
And
Podium
those models.
celebrations are
Let's
underway.
party!
I think our drivers look a little bit maybe tired, maybe not quite as delighted as he would have been if he'd have won that one out on the racetrack. But the points are the points. The success is the success. And they've got a great team relationship as well. Do know but Michaelis and Mikel Azcona. Jan Aleshe looking satisfied there. A little bit of a congratulatory thing. And let's take a look at the provisional drivers' standings. 45 points separate Jan Aleshe and Esteban Guerrieri. 53 points back is Ted Bjork. It's been a good day's work for the Swedish driver, Santiago Urrutia, also very much in the fight as well. Right then, folks, I enjoyed that one. I hope you did. Let's do it all again tomorrow, shall we? 12 o'clock local time, 2:30 UTC in the morning on the TCR TV YouTube channel. My name's been Paul Jeffrey, Alex Le Gui in pit lane, and from us all, thanks for watching. Take care. Until next time, bye-bye.